Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Prahlad Narasimha Jaya Prahlad Narasimha Prahlad Narasimha Jaya Prahlad Narasimha Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhava Ashtasaki Vrinda Shriman Mahaprabhu ki Jai Shri Shri Panchatattva ki Jai Shri Prahlad Narasimhadeva Bhagavan ki Jai Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani Sudarshan Chakra Maharaj ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Samaveda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya So we are reading from the introduction of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1. Any memory of last week? Okay. Okay. Mataji? Hair cutting. Who helped Mahaprabhu with cutting hair, with that ceremony? But it was sannyas ceremony in which you shave the head. Who helped Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with that ceremony? Huh? Very good option. There were two main devotees, Nityananda Prabhu and one more. Prabhuji, two devotees who helped Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with his sannyas ceremony. Nityananda Prabhu was one. The second one is some Acharya. You can come inside. Wasn't Advaita Acharya. It's like a little moon type. His name. Something with Chandra. Chandrasekhar Acharya. Okay. Little moon type. It was Chandrasekhar Acharya. Then we said a story of one of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's very close friends from his school time. What was his name? Good to keep notes. He heard a name and he went crazy. And to pacify him, he was given a specific name. Right, his name was Chaitanya Das. And then he became father of Srivas Acharya. Very good. Okay, then okay, so basically that's what we covered. So after Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, he very vigorously he became engaged. He wanted to preach Krishna consciousness. Oh, one more question. Why did Mahaprabhu take sannyas? Because everybody? Yeah, they will respect him as a sannyasi. They'll respect him because he's a sannyasi. They don't respect him because he's Nimai Pandit. If he's a grihastha, no respect. But if he's a sannyasi, yes, they will respect. So, that's why Mahaprabhu, to preach Krishna consciousness, he took up sannyas. And after taking sannyas, he really wanted to start preaching about Krishna consciousness. And he took his way to Vrindavan. Sri Prabhupada mentions, for 3 days, he was walking in Radhadesh. Radhadesh means a place where Ganga doesn't flow. But Sri Nityananda Prabhu, he didn't want him to leave so quickly. Because now he's a sannyasi. He can just roam around wherever he feels like without any restrictions. Nobody can stop him. So he wants to leave. But because the attachment is there towards the Lord, devotees don't want the Lord to leave. So Sri Nityananda Prabhu, he arranged, he's showing the path to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu is going, crazy in his ecstasy. He tricks him and he brings him to the house of Sri Advaitacharya. He actually met some cowherd men arranged by Nityananda Prabhu. And he said, Mahaprabhu asked, is this Vrindavan? Cows are there, cowherd men are there. He said, is this Vrindavan? He says, yes, this is Vrindavan. And there is Yamuna and Ganga flowing. So Mahaprabhu thinks this is Yamuna. He's already in ecstasy. So he's so happy, so blissful, that he thinks he reached Vrindavan. And he sees Advaitacharya coming, rowing his boat. And Mahaprabhu says, Advaitacharya, what are you doing in Vrindavan? He says, Mahaprabhu, wherever you are there, that place is Vrindavan. So Mahaprabhu understood that he got tricked. But Advaitacharya says, please, before you leave Navadvip, before you leave Nadia, please visit my home. So Mahaprabhu agreed. He came to Advaitacharya's house. He stayed there for a few days. And knowing very well that Mahaprabhu would not come back, Advaitacharya sent a message to Shachi Mata. You can come and meet him once. So Shachi Mata, she came, thinking that nobody else is invited. Actually, nobody was invited. It was only Shachi Mata. So she comes and she meets Mahaprabhu. Seeing Mahaprabhu dressed up as a sannyasi, her mother's heart fell from here to here. She's so sad seeing her child renounce the world. She's crying. But he has already taken sannyas. There is no way back. He's already decided that he wants to take up Krishna consciousness and deliver the world. A person, when he takes sannyas, he goes to his sannyas guru and he says, protect me from this material world and its attachment. Give me the order of sannyas. So he doesn't want to be attached. Indradyumna Maharaj, when he was giving sannyas to Bhakti Rasa and Sagar Maharaj, I think that's his name. Right? That's his name. When he was giving sannyas to Sagar Maharaj, he told him that he burnt everything, all his belongings from Grihastha Ashram. He burnt it. So he doesn't have any attachments left. So like that, Mahaprabhu gave up everything. Fully dedicated himself. And mother is crying, my son is not attached anymore. But she decides she wants to cook for him. And Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita mentions, I think it was 21 different varieties of just shak. You know what is shak? Shak is just leafy vegetables. And Mahaprabhu loves shak. Spinach, 21 different kinds of spinach. And when Shachimata was invited, somehow the news got leaked. Somebody mentioned that Mahaprabhu, that Nimai is in Advaita Acharya's house. So the whole of Navadvip is running to see Mahaprabhu. And the boatman is there. Now you see there are big boats, with motor. When I came first time in 96, they were still rowing boats. So this boatman is there and everybody started to jump in the boat. 5, 10, still people are jumping. The boatman says, are you gone mad? The boat is going to sink. Before he even finishes saying that, the boat sank. These people are like, you guys are crazy. Why are you jumping like this? So you didn't hear the news? He says, what news? He says, Nimai is here. What? And the whole of Navadvip starts swimming in Ganga. Shastra mentions, if you look from the bird's view, the whole Ganga had turned black. Because you only see people's head swimming towards, to see Mahaprabhu. And they all came to see Mahaprabhu. So Mahaprabhu stayed there. Srila Prabhupada mentions some people, there are always people who have to have bad feelings. They have to give some nonsense interpretations. They say Mahaprabhu met his wife as well and gave his wooden shoes. But no authentic scriptures, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat, doesn't mention about Mahaprabhu meeting his wife. So there is just, we have 14 different main varieties of apasampradayas who just talk nonsense. You remember when we were living in Gurukul, right after Gaur Purnima, behind in the Tarampur, there is one temple called Radharaman Mandir. Over there, they would invite one of these apasampradayas. Their name is Gauranga Nagari. They are the famous group of Kirtaniyars. And they fall in ecstasy. They drink alcohol and they go in divine ecstasy. And they start singing. Whole day they are singing. The singing is okay. Mahamantra is going on, it's okay. But as the night goes and the alcohol is going high, they start feeling the ecstasy and they start singing like this. Hore Kishino. And then because he's singing, he starts getting so much ecstasy that he's crying. He goes, Hore Kishino. I'm not joking, you can still hear them after Gaur Purnima. They'll go like that, cry throughout the whole night. And then they start shaking. Oh, Krishna, oh, Krishna. They start shaking like that. And because he's shaking, he has already gotten in ecstasy. So the other guy comes and grabs his feet. He's like, Mahaprabhu, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And he starts shaking. So we have like this varieties of people. You go to Navadvip, you'll see this very beautiful Mataji performing Arati to the deities. And at the end of the Arati, end of one particular article, they turn around. And they turn around, you see the Matajis having full on beard and mustache. They are called Sakhi Vekis. They are dressed up, they think they are gopis. So they will dress up in sari. You go to Radhakund, there are Babajis, depending on how much money you give them, they will tell you your Swarup. If you are a Westerner, you can never be a gopi. Forget a gopi, you cannot even be a human being there. The best you can go is become a peacock or a cow. So then you practice your own Swarup right while you are here. So then the devotees they go and they are dressed up like that and they go, ew, ew. They are peacock. Or they go, oh, because they are a cow. They are practicing their Swarup while being here. So they are called Jat Gosais. Complete and this is just Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Filled with craziness. So these people, they all come up with all this kind of retarded statements. Oh, Mahaprabhu even after taking sannyas, he met his wife. Of course, Mahaprabhu's shoes are still there. The deity made by Srimati Vishnupriya Devi is still there in Navadvip. It's called Dhameshwar Mahaprabhu. You can, you can go touch those shoes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to your head and get the blessings. There is, I think, a handwritten Bhagavatam by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, probably in Ambika Kalna. So there are so many services like that. And that time, Shachi Devi, anyway, when Mahaprabhu was there in Advaita Acharya's house, she requested Mahaprabhu, please, if you want to go somewhere, go to Puri. Don't go to Vrindavan. Because while you are in Puri, I can constantly hear about you. I'll get updates about you. So Mahaprabhu, on the request of Shachi Devi, he made Jagannath Puri as his headquarters. But while he was traveling, he went to many different places. On the way, he took darshan of Gopinath Ji, who is now called Khirachara Gopinath. We all know the beautiful pastime of Khirachara Gopinath. So he went there where where the Lord had stolen the milk for his Paramaguru. Like for us is Bhakti Siddhanta, for us is Srila Prabhupada. So dear to us. And his Guru Maharaj is Madhavendra Puri. So you can feel such close connection. When we go out traveling to different holy places, sometimes we would hear that there is a ISKCON temple in that particular place. You don't know the place at all. But you enter the temple, there is a deity of Srila Prabhupada, there are the Lord over there in any form, and you immediately feel at home. You might have felt, you immediately feel, many times when you would go out on parikramas, you would be just traveling in different parts of South India or Orissa or anywhere, and suddenly you know that, okay, in this particular city there is an ISKCON temple. You go inside, as soon as you see the deity of Srila Prabhupada, you feel at home. It's the true statement made that Srila Prabhupada made a house in which that Srila Prabhupada can live in. He was very strict, but at the same time he was very loving and caring. He made every temple feel like a home. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he hears that my Paramaguru Maharaj was here, and this very specific service, he got this very specific, special darshan of the Lord, that the Lord himself stole the sweet rice for him. It becomes so much more personal. Mahaprabhu taking darshan of Khirachara Gopinath was in complete ecstasy, and he danced and sang the glories of Gopinath for many hours. Then the prosperity of stealing is there, the propensity of stealing is there even in the absolute consciousness. Srila Prabhupada said there is only one quality which doesn't exist in the spiritual world, and that is envy. Everything else you will find over there. Because unless it's there, it cannot be here. But envy is one quality which doesn't exist in the spiritual world. Jealousy, yes. But there is a difference between jealousy and envy. Anybody knows what's the difference between the two? Jealous means if somebody gets something, you want that. If my neighbor got a car, new car, now I also want to get a new car. My friend got a big LCD TV, I want one also. That is jealousy. So the gopis are there, oh look, Krishna went today to this gopi. I also want Krishna to come to my kunja. So what should I do? I should serve better. I should prepare my kunja better. So that inspires you. But envy means I want that particular thing that he got. My neighbor got a car. He should not have that car. I should have that particular car. In which that's called envy. You can't tolerate somebody's progress. You want that particular thing. That's non-existent. Even in the for example, when we perform yagyas, at the end of the yagya, towards the end of the yagya, there is something called Vaishnava Homa, in which you are offering ahutis to all different varieties of personalities, or your whole parampara, all the incarnations of the Lord. Then you are doing to all the different Vaishnavas, and in that all the Krishna's friends, cowherd friends, all the gopis. One is also offering oblations to Chandravali Devi. Now who is Chandravali Devi? She is the biggest rival of Srimati Radharani. We hear the pastime of Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. He would only take one leaf full of buttermilk every day. That's his tapasya. The amount of buttermilk that fits in one leaf, you make a cup out of it, that's it. So he had a servant. One day he went to a village and he found big leaves. So he said, oh, this big leaves means big cup. Big cup means more buttermilk. So if my Guru Maharaj can drink bigger a quantity of buttermilk. And he made this and he brought more buttermilk and he gave it to Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. And Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, he sees this and he said, where did you get this leaf from? I forgot the name of the village. Sakhistali. Right. He said, I got this from Sakhistali. Immediately Raghunath Bhatta Goswami threw it away. And he says, don't go there. That village belongs to Chandravali. She doesn't want Krishna to spend time with Radharani. He threw it away, didn't drink whole day. So that is the mood of our Goswamis. But then Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he mentions the name of Chandravali Devi when he gives us the paddhati for doing yagyas. So why her name is there? I asked Bhakti Purna Maharaj, why her name is there? And he says, because when they perform the Maharasa on the night before the first day of Kartik, it's called Sharada Purnima. On that day there is Maharas. So all these gopis, they get together under the leadership of Srimati Radharani and they organize this whole Rasa Mandali. So she is involved, she is performing service. So there is jealousy is there. They're jealous, oh, she took away Krishna today. But there is no envy. They're always trying to improve themselves in Krishna's service. But these people, they are envious of the Lord. And that's why they come up with these kind of comments. We have to be very, very careful when we get in touch with these people. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then he continued on his way, and he went and took darshan of Sakshi Gopal. Sakshi Gopal came all the way from Vrindavan. Anybody knows the story of Sakshi Gopal? One person. Oh, he knows. You know story of Sakshi Gopal? Your mama told you. So, there was a deity of Gopal. And in Vrindavan. And there was this old man who came all the way from Orissa to Vrindavan to do Brajmandal Parikrama. And one Brajavasi, he helped him. He took him all the way around. And he was so happy, this old man was so happy. He said, "You are one nice young man. I'll give my daughter to you as in marriage." He's happy. He said, "You come and meet me in my village and I'll have my daughter married to you." After some time, this Brajavasi travels to Orissa and he says, "Okay, now is the time, I'm ready for marriage." And this old man thinks, "Oh, but this man doesn't have enough money. How will he maintain my daughter?" So he said, No, I didn't tell you that." He said, "I took you around Brajmandal." He said, "Yeah, but I don't remember giving any promising my daughter to you. Sorry, I can't." He says, "But no, what happened to the promise?" He says, "What is the proof that I promised you? There has to be some proof." He said, "You said in front of Gopal that you will come." He says, "Okay, if Gopal will give the proof, if he becomes the witness, then I will give my daughter to you." Smart guy, no? How is the deity going to come from Vrindavan to give witness? He says, "Okay." So this Brajavasi goes back. After a few months, he's back with the deity, not carrying him. He went and told Gopal. He says, "Gopal, in front of you the old man promised, I am your devotee. You have to become my witness." Gopal said, "Yes, don't worry, I will come. Don't look back. I'll just walk behind you." Okay. Says, if you look back, I will not come anymore. So they kept on walking. And they reached the village of the old man. And Krishna was walking behind him. He could hear the ankle bells. But as soon as the village came close, the devotee, the Brajavasi, became so excited. He said, "Hey Gopal, look, we have reached the village. That's the village there." Gopal said, "That's it. I'm not walking anymore." But then he went and he said, "Look, the deity of Gopal is here." And the whole village came to see him. And Gopal said, "Yes, in front of me, this old man, he promised to give his daughter in marriage to this young man." This is extremely impressive. He's able to bring the deity. And then the whole village got together, built the temple for this Gopal. And because he became Sakshi, Sakshi means a witness. Because he became a witness for his devotee, his name became Sakshi Gopal. Gopal, who is a witness. So Mahaprabhu, he took darshan of Sakshi Gopal. And then he came to Jagannath Puri. Before that, there is another place. He stayed and he wanted to take bath in the river. In this river, Mahaprabhu, he gave his sannyas danda to Nityananda Prabhu so that he could take bath. And Nityananda Prabhu, he knows who is Mahaprabhu. What kind of a level of sannyasi God himself can be. So, when a sannyasi is new, he carries a danda. There are multiple layers or multiple levels of a sannyasi. The topmost level is called Paramahamsa. He's completely self-realized. knowing that Nityananda Prabhu broke the danda of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu into 3 pieces. Because a Paramahamsa sannyasi doesn't require a danda. And also there is another reason why he broke it into 3 pieces is because Mahaprabhu is a Vaishnava. He's Krishna, but he's acting as a Vaishnava. Vaishnava sannyasis, they have 3 danda, means they have 3 sticks. But because he took sannyas from a Mayavadi, Keshav Bharati is a Mayavadi, he gave him Mayavadi sannyas, so they only have 1 stick. So for these 2 reasons, Nityananda Prabhu broke Mahaprabhu's danda into 3 pieces and he threw it into the river. When Mahaprabhu found out, Nityananda Prabhu said, "Oh, sorry, it broke." Mahaprabhu was so angry that he just went very quickly to Jagannath Puri. And he was so fast, the devotees couldn't even catch up with him. And when he came to the outskirts of Sri Puri Dham, he saw this beautiful, magnificent Sudarshan Chakra. And as soon as he saw, the desire to see Jagannath was so strong that he ran. Nobody could stop him. He just ran all the way inside the temple and he fainted. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fainted, these people, the Pandas, we all know how loving the Jagannath Puri Pandas can be. And sorry for the sarcasm. But as soon as they saw Mahaprabhu, they thought he was a madman. They took sticks to beat him. And Mahaprabhu has gone unconscious. But there was Sri Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He said, "Hey, wait. You people don't understand. This person is not a madman. He's a great personality. He has fainted out of ecstasy for the Lord. Look at his body. His hairs are all standing on end. His body is shivering. He has seen Jagannath. He has fallen into ecstasy. Bring him to my residence." So all the Pandas carried him to Mahaprabhu's residence. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's residence. And he is the royal priest. You don't mess around with him. You know what he says, you have to follow. So then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is looking at Mahaprabhu. He made him lie down and he's looking at him. He's trying to carefully recognize him, what's happening with this personality. And slowly all the devotees, they started, they entered Puri Dham and they are asking, "Have you seen this particular madman? He's completely mad. He's running around. Did you see him? He's half naked." Yeah, he's a sannyasi. Yeah, we saw him. He ran to Jagannath temple. They went and said, "Have you seen this particular, completely madman?" Yeah, he was here, completely crazy. He fainted here, and then they took him to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house. Immediately, they took him. These people, Mahaprabhu's followers, they entered the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and they see Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya trying to find out what is going on. He understands that he is not an ordinary person, but he doesn't understand who he is. So upon seeing Mahaprabhu lying down unconscious, the devotees, they started to chant Hare Krishna. And just by hearing the kirtan, Mahaprabhu regained consciousness. And he's asking, "Oh, where am I?" And so they introduced Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya to him. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is thinking, he's a very young man. He's only 24 or 25. He has taken up sannyas. What if he falls down? I have to give him the knowledge of Vedanta. Now Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had many sannyasis learning under him. because he was such a scholar. He was originally from Navadvip, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. It was him who made Navadvip the center of education. Because when he went from here, back, that time he went to Mithila. Mithila is a birthplace of Sita Devi. That was the place of knowledge. And they wouldn't give out their books. Neither would they allow anybody to copy them down. Because if that happens, that won't be the place of knowledge anymore. So they wouldn't allow anybody. But Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya went there, studied all the Shastras. Exactly 100%. Came back to Navadvip, wrote it down, and made Navadvip as the center of education. You can imagine what a scholar he must have been. But as Krishna says, with knowledge you cannot understand me. You need to have devotion. And one great Acharya, he mentions, if you understand what is love, what is prema, you are the greatest scholar. Because with prema, you can understand Krishna. With jnana, with knowledge, you cannot. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has the knowledge. He is the biggest scholar of the world. But he doesn't understand Krishna. That's why he couldn't understand, he couldn't recognize Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's why he starts thinking, I must teach him Vedanta. He's very young. So he told him, come sit for my class. I'll teach you Vedanta. And he spoke continuously for 7 days. Mahaprabhu only heard him. And then he was asking his different students, so, you're understanding, and everybody's glorifying you. Oh, you're such a scholar. Oh, you said this. And he turns to Mahaprabhu. He said, you heard my lecture for 7 days. You haven't asked any question. So I am wondering if you are understanding what I am trying to say. Or you are not understanding anything. You are only going Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, like a madman. Do you understand Vedanta? Mahaprabhu said, I understand Vedanta, but I don't understand your explanations. Your explanations makes no sense to me. They are perverted. They are not true. And then there was a big discussion with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Mahaprabhu. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, that is the Atmarama verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, we will come to it. It is one of the main verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he explains, and Mahaprabhu says, bogus. And he gave 21 different explanations on the Atmarama verse. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was shocked to hear the Vaishnava Siddhanta. Completely shocked. At the same time, he was so impressed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said, I will become your follower. For days and days, they were arguing on Vedanta. And Mahaprabhu finally defeated him. But Mahaprabhu, he showed the example of the best sannyasi, a best Vaishnava. He never felt proud. Srila Sanatana Goswami, when he met Mahaprabhu, he also asked, because Sanatana Goswami is another great scholar. He said, Mahaprabhu, I have heard you gave 21 different explanations on the Atmarama verse. Could you please repeat them for me? Mahaprabhu said, I don't remember. He says, you don't need that. You are a Vaishnava. You don't require it. So, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, there was one story that happened with him. Mahaprabhu came to Jagannath temple and brought some Mahaprasadam early morning. And he gave him to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Knocked at his door, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya just woke up. He says, here, Mahaprasad. He took it and he ate. He says, what kind of Brahman are you? You just woke up from deep slumber. You didn't wash your mouth, didn't brush your teeth, didn't take a bath, and you're eating. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says, as soon as Krishna Mahaprasadam comes, you should immediately honor it. Doesn't matter what situation you are in. And he quotes Shastras from there. And he becomes the follower of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was asked, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asked, later on, let's not jump all the way there. So then, Sri Prabhupada says, we'll read little from the purport. Those who are the followers of Shankara cult are generally known as the Vedantists. This does not, however, mean that Vedanta is a monopoly study of the Shankara philosophy, Sampradaya. Vedanta is studied by all bona fide Sampradayas, but they have their own interpretations. But those in the Shankara Sampradaya are generally known to be ignorant of the knowledge of the Vedantist Vaishnavas. For this, the Bhakti Vedanta title was first offered to the author by the Vaishnavas. That's Srila Prabhupada. Because he understands Vedanta philosophy very nicely. That's why he was given the title Bhakti Vedanta. When Srila Prabhupada was going to become a sannyasi, they were thinking, what should be the name? And somebody suggested it should be Bhakti Siddhanta. And they said, no. That's Guru Maharaj's name. You can't give him the same title as Guru Maharaj. So there was one of Srila Prabhupada's god brother. He said, let's name him Bhakti Vedanta. It means the same. He's such a scholar. It means the same. But it's a different title. So that's why he was given the title Bhakti Vedanta. Because he understands the philosophy of Vedanta according to devotional service. Which the Sampradaya of Shankara, they don't understand it at all. They have no idea of what is devotional service. We will come to it when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to Varanasi. All the sannyasis sitting over there, they're completely, mesmerized by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His humility. We'll come to it later. We'll read a little about this discussion between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. The Lord agreed to take lessons from Bhattacharya on Vedanta, and they sat together in the temple of Lord Jagannath. The Bhattacharya went on speaking continuously for 7 days, and the Lord heard him with all attention and did not interrupt. The Lord's silence raised some doubt in Bhattacharya's heart, and he asked the Lord how it was that he did not ask anything or comment on his explanations of Vedanta. The Mahaprabhu posed himself before the Bhattacharya as a foolish student and pretended that he heard the Vedanta from him because the Bhattacharya felt that it was the duty of a sannyasi. But the Lord didn't agree with his lectures. By this, the Lord indicated that the so-called Vedantists among the Shankara Sampradaya or any other Sampradaya who do not follow the instructions of Srila Vyasadeva are mechanical students of Vedanta. They just understand, the mechanics of it, just gyan. No understanding, no application of that knowledge. No complete understanding of Vedanta. They are not fully aware of that great knowledge. The explanation of the Vedanta Sutra is given by the author himself in the text of Srimad Bhagavatam. One who has no knowledge of Bhagavatam will hardly be able to know what the Vedanta says. The Bhattacharya, being a vastly learned man, could follow the Lord's sarcastic remarks on the popular Vedantist. He therefore asked him why he did not ask any point which he could not follow. The Bhattacharya could understand the purpose of his dead silence for the days he heard him. This showed clearly that the Lord had something else in mind. Thus Bhattacharya requested him to disclose his mind. Upon this, the Lord spoke as follows. My dear sir, I can understand the meaning of the sutras like Janmadyasya Yataha, Shastrayo Nitvat, and Athato Brahma Jigyasa of the Vedanta Sutras. But when you explain them in your own way, it becomes difficult for me to follow them. The direct shloka I understand, but your explanations I can't. The purpose of the sutras is already explained in them, but your explanations are covering them with something else. You do not purposely take the direct meaning of the sutras, but indirectly give your own interpretations. The Lord thus attacked all the Vedantists who interpret the Vedanta Sutra fashionably, according to their own way, according to their limited power of thinking, to serve their own purpose. Such indirect interpretations of the authentic literatures like the Vedanta Sutra are hereby condemned by the Lord. That's why Bhagavad Gita as it is, not my own interpretation. There was somebody, he wrote Bhagavad Gita as I understand it. Somebody wrote as it should be. The Lord continued, Srila Vyasadeva has summarized the direct meaning of the mantras in the Upanishads in the Vedanta Sutra. Unfortunately, you do not take their direct meaning. You indirectly interpret them in a different way. The authority of the Vedas is unchangeable and stands without any questions of doubt. And whatever is stated in the Vedanta, in the Vedas, must be accepted completely. Otherwise, one changes the authority of the Vedas. Indirectly, they are performing the fourth offense towards the holy name. They don't understand the Veda properly. They're giving their own interpretations. And that's how they are challenging the authority of the Vedas. The conch shell and the cow dung are bone and stool of two living beings. But because they have been recommended by the Vedas as pure, people accept them as such because of the authority of the Veda. The idea is that one cannot set his imperfect reason above the authority of the Veda. Oh, I think it should be like that. No. What does the Veda speak? What does the Veda say? That's what you should follow. The orders of the Vedas must be obeyed as they stand, without any mundane reasoning. We have it very common in our movement. Oh, we don't need to be cultured. We chant Hare Krishna. We don't have to follow the samskaras because we chant Hare Krishna. Sometimes, many times devotees, they say, somebody wants to have a child. Shastra recommends you're supposed to perform Garbhadhana Samskara. We don't do that. We just chant Hare Krishna. You enter a new house, you're supposed to perform Vastu Homa. We don't do that. We just chant Hare Krishna. We don't need those things. If you are on that level of depth of conviction that Krishna, I don't need anything other than Krishna, sure, you don't need those things. But when it comes to personal gains, we don't say, oh, we don't need to do that particular work. I don't need to go for a job and make money. I just chant Hare Krishna and Krishna will take care of me. We don't think like that. Then we go out for work. We completely give up, we rub our tilak off. We remove our kanthi, mala, wear a suit, we keep a very small shikha or no shikha because what, the boss will say. We have all those ideas when we go out for work. And then when there are things to follow that may be difficult for us, we say, oh, we don't do that because we chant Hare Krishna. Has anybody gone through this or experienced or even heard something like that? Yes? But Mahaprabhu says here, you don't do that. You follow the instructions of the Shastra. without giving our mundane interpretation to it. I need to make money, so that's why I'll go for job. No, you sit and chant Hare Krishna, and Krishna will take care of you. Many times while we were in Gurukul, we would go out for Braj Mandal Parikrama. And then, we are not going together with all the devotees because we have our classes and everything during Kartik. So we just go other time of the year. So there are no arrangements made. We would go out, morning and evening begging door to door. Whatever we get, that's what we would eat. Wherever we would get a place to sleep, that's where we would sleep. Sometimes it's in somebody's house, sometimes it's in some temple, sometimes it's underneath a tree. So we would just chant, and that time we met with one Brajavasi, Gaudiya Vaishnava. His name is Gopal Baba, a very dedicated saintly devotee, very young. Probably he's in his mid-30s. Probably by now he's like 35-year-old or something. But he's so devoted to Krishna. Many times he would just go on the banks of Yamuna, sit there and just chant for months. He takes vrata. For this many months I will just chant japa. I will not talk to anybody. So then he will give us a call. Hari Bol, how are you? You're doing good. How is Mayapur Dham? He came and lived in Mayapur Dham for a few months. How is everything going? He says, yeah, everything is going good. Okay. I just wanted to talk to you before I go for my vrata. So tomorrow I'm starting vrata. And what he does, he doesn't talk to anybody, he just chants. He doesn't go out asking for prasad. If by chance somebody thought, okay, he hasn't eaten, let me give him something, and they bring it to him, then he will eat. For him, performing all these different Vedic rules are not necessary, because he just sits and chants. But for us who think, how am I going to pay my bill? Let me make some arrangements, let me make some phone calls, now let me do overshift, make more money so that I can have a nice place to live in. For us, those Vedic rules are applied because Krishna says so. So then, we don't give any mundane reasoning. The so-called followers of the Vedic injunction make their own interpretations of the Vedic injunctions, and thus they established different parties and sects of the Vedic religion. Lord Buddha directly denied the authorities of the Veda. He says, no, there is no Veda, it's all bogus. It teaches you wrong things. Only for this reason, the Buddhist religion was not accepted by the strict followers of the Vedas. But the so-called followers of the Vedas have no courage to deny the Vedas. Although indirectly they disobey all the injunctions of the Vedas, Lord Chaitanya condemned this. The example given by the Lord of the conch shell and the cow dung are very much appropriate in this connection. If one argues that since cow dung is pure, the stool of learned Brahmana is still more pure, because that's a cow, he's a learned Brahmin. That's why his stool is more pure. This argument will not be accepted. Many times we do that. Oh, this particular devotee is such a great devotee. He's so nice. He came and he put my hand on my head. Now I don't need to take bath today, because I have touched this particular devotee. I'm pure. I have seen this kind of people. I have rolled in the dust of Sridham Mayapur. I'm clean. I don't need to take bath. Why? Because they are lazy to take bath. They are not thinking, oh yes, I only require the dust of Sridham Mayapur. No, they are just lazy to take bath. That kind of arguments will not be accepted. Cow dung is accepted and the stool of highly posted Brahmana is rejected. The Lord continued. The Vedic injunctions are self-authorized, and if some mundane creature adjusts the interpretations of the Vedas, he defies that authority. It is foolish to think of oneself as more intelligent than Srila Vyasadeva. He has directly expressed himself in his sutras, and there is no need of help from personalities of lesser importance. Very strongly talking with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, the most learned man of his time. And he's telling him of a personality of lesser importance. His work, the Vedanta Sutra, is as dazzling as the midday sun. And when someone tries to give his own interpretation on the self-effulgent sun-like Vedanta Sutra, he attempts to cover this sun with the cloud of his imagination. The Vedas and Puranas are one and the same in purpose. They ascertain the absolute truth, which is greater than everything else. The absolute truth is the ultimately realized as the absolute personality of Godhead with absolute controlling power. As such, the absolute personality of Godhead must be completely full of opulence, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. The 6 are the qualities of somebody to be called as Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We'll ask you this question next week. 6 qualities: beauty, strength, renunciation, knowledge, fame, and strength. Srila Prabhupada speaks about it in his purports of Srimad Bhagavatam, that anybody who has one of them, many times they are also called Bhagavan. Many times Narad Muni is called Bhagavan. But what makes it different in Krishna, that he has all of them in complete form. Nobody is more renounced than Krishna. Nobody is more beautiful than Krishna. Nobody is more powerful than Krishna or famous than Krishna. You know how many people knows us? People in Mayapur, people in our individual countries, small group. But hundreds and thousands and unlimited times more universes they know about Krishna. So you can't be more famous than him. Krishna at the age of 7 lifted up the whole Govardhana hill for 7 days and 7 nights. We can't hold it, even a stone, for that long. Forget about a pinky finger. So Krishna has it in his full. That's why he's called Bhagavan. So that's why she says the absolute supreme personality of Godhead must be completely full in these 6 opulences. Yet the transcendental personality of Godhead is astonishingly ascertained as impersonal. What are you people talking about? He has full opulence, he has full beauty. If a person is beautiful, how can he be impersonal? Jananivas Prabhu was mentioning one time in his class, he said, Krishna is so attractive. Forget the form of Krishna. Just the light emanating from Krishna is so attractive that many times people want to give up their own form to become him. They want to merge into the light coming from Krishna. So imagine the light is so beautiful, how beautiful Krishna must be. So Mahaprabhu is saying, how can a person with these full opulences, 6 opulences, how can he be impersonal? The impersonal description of the absolute truth in the Vedas is given to nullify the mundane conception of the absolute whole. The personal features of the Lord are completely different from all kinds of mundane features. The living entities are all individual persons, and they are all part and parcels of the supreme whole. If the part and parcels are individual persons, the source of their emanation must not be impersonal. If we have form, why can't he have form? Right? Even Christians, I think Bible mentions it, the God, he fashioned humans with his own form. But if you ask them, how does God look like? They have absolutely no idea. Quran says when Muhammad went to see Allah, there was a curtain, he couldn't see Allah. But it says he was sitting on a throne. And you ask them, describe Allah, they say he's light. How can light sit? There is light in this room. Is the light sitting somewhere? It has a source, which are the light bulbs. So the light bulb, the tube light is sitting there in the socket. So they say, yeah, he fashioned humans in with his own form. That means he has a form. And Srila Prabhupada, previously, I forgot the name of the gospel, where they describe Radha and Krishna. They say, yes, he has 2 hands. He tends cows. That's God. Srila Prabhupada mentions somewhere, I can't remember. So if we as individual persons have form, how can he be impersonal? The Vedas inform us that from him, the Brahman, everything emanates, and on him everything rests. And after annihilation, everything merges in him only. Therefore, he is the ultimate dative, causative, and accommodating cause of all causes. And these causes cannot be attributed to an impersonal object. The light is the cause of all cause. How? The sun, who emanates the sun rays, he is a cause of the life in the universe. But sunlight on its own, without the sun globe, doesn't exist. Anyway, we will stop here because it just goes into more and more and more details. Anybody has any questions on this class, today's class? No? Now I'm worried. People are silent. They are not asking questions. Maybe something will come after 7 days. Okay, so we will end here. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani Shri Sudarshan Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Tayo Premanande Hari Hari Bo.